So my neighbor knocks on my door and is like, hey, I need access to your backyard. The person that was living there before you just moved in, oh, he always let me into the backyard, so I'm going to need access now. Yeah, it sounds ridiculous, right? Well, that's not all. He starts complaining about my bulldog being in my backyard, saying it's outside too much. I'm rambling. Let me start from the beginning because this story, it elevates very quickly. Honestly, I don't know where to go or who to ask for help, but I'm furious. I'm angry and want revenge. Now, I've never used this website before, but I'm going to do it now for the first time because I'm desperate and need guidance and don't know who or well to turn. You see, I have one of the nastiest neighbors who has ever made our recent move to his home. Hell, I just cannot take it anymore. I used to watch The Neighbor from Hell on YouTube and saw how nasty some of the people can be, but never thought that I would be facing the same issue. A little about me, see. I'm 28 and grew up in a poor neighborhood. I've seen the harshness of that place and I've worked hard to take my whole family out of it. And got married to my beautiful wife, Kat. Everyone in my family is settled down, but me and my wife still used to live in a small apartment with one bedroom. So, when I got a promotion and my wife got pregnant, I thought I should move out to find a bigger place for our growing family. I wanted to give my child the best that I could afford. So, I bought a house in a posh neighborhood, not too far from my parents, see. My childhood neighbors used to be nasty, so I was hoping that this area would have more rules in invading other people's property, you know? But unfortunately, it was worse. In a banker, by profession, is what I do. So after my promotion, my workload was a lot. I was even put into a training program to learn the work, and my wife was 6 months pregnant at the time, and so my mother, after seeing the situation, offered to help us out and she moved in for the time being. As we were getting help from my mom, I thought I would put more work before the delivery, because my wife will need me after it. The house was, normal. 2 bedrooms, backyard, a lawn. The main attraction was that the backyard had a swimming pool. A nice pool. We have dogs as well, and he's well-mannered. See, our house is divided from the neighbor's house with a foot-long wooden fence and a high net fence over it. To be honest, fitting in the new neighborhood was only the intention we had until our neighbor started creating issues for us. The neighbor is a mother in her 40s and has 3 children, 2 teenagers, and a small baby. I have no idea where her husband is or if he even exists. Well, for about a few weeks, everything was absolutely normal. We were minding our own business, and my wife went to their house just after making her introduction to herself and giving us sweets. The neighbor, Jolene, was sweet-spoken, at least that's what my wife tells me. My wife is kind of like an innocent, naive person, always finding the best about people and eliminating all the negative energy. Let me tell you where the problem actually started from, though. After a few days of us moving into the neighborhood, when my wife was roaming around the lawn in the front yard, one of the teenagers asked her for our Wi-Fi password. He said he needs it immediately because his router isn't working and he's in the middle of an online class. So, assuming it's a genuine need, without much thought, my wife gave it to him. When she informed me, I also didn't complain. It's good to be helpful when someone is in need. The next day, I discovered 2 extra devices logged into my Wi-Fi, slowing down my internet. After blocking them and heading to work, I returned just to find more unauthorized devices connected to it. I was sure it was that teenager, but I stayed quiet at first, but with my internet constantly disrupted and bogged down, I had to change my password. The next day, the kid came again, and I was in the backyard this time and faked the same reason with me. See, I said I had an issue with my speed and it won't be enough for him and offered him my mobile hotspot till he finished his class. But he insisted that I give him the password. Upon hearing us talking, his mom came and started trash-talking me and saying things like how her old neighbor was generous just to hand out the Wi-Fi password, but I'm not. Well, I tried to make her understand the kind of issues I was having regarding the speed, but she wasn't ready to give up. So I ignored her because I was getting late for my office. The next day, her husband came home and my wife insisted I resolve the matter between us, and he seems to understand the situation at hand. Her husband seems like an absolute nice guy, but apparently they will be divorcing soon. The court ordered them to give it a final try and then just decide. Well, guys, After a few days, on the morning the garbage truck was meant to come, I had a bag of garbage I wanted to get rid of. The garbage was heavy and my mother could not carry it outside. On the other hand, our bin was full and it had shrimp stew all along it with other heavy things. If I kept them till the next day, the whole neighborhood would smell like shrimp, and I couldn't wait as I had an early shift. I saw my neighbor's husband walking outside doing something on the lawn, and I asked him if he had an empty space in his garbage so I could put my trash and explain the situation. He didn't mind and told me to put it in their bin, but his wife burst out of the house and started screaming at me. She took the bag and threw it at me, making everything spill all over the lawn. I couldn't take it and started shouting at her, saying that she was creating a scene out of nothing. But as it was her garbage, I was feeling guilty for using it. I apologized for screaming at her, and her husband could not utter a word the whole time. I can't tell why she wants to get a divorce, right? Yeah, they're polar opposites, but in a very, very bad way. By the time I had almost moved in for a month or two, and we had not encountered each other, and I got busy with my overtime at work, when summer approached, my mother gets a knock at the door from the notorious neighbor. She asked my mother to give her access to the pool in my backyard. My mom knew what kind of person she was, and I also told her to stay away from that lady, so my mother tried to avoid the request by telling her that she should ask me instead. The neighbor got mad, and it's said that she was the head of the community club and that the old neighbor gave her access to the pool all the time. My mother made it crystal clear that the information and her position had nothing to do with it. The house wasn't hers, it was her son's, so only I could make the decision. This continued for a few days, as I was always at the office when she came with a demand. My mother even told her when I would come home to discuss the matter, but she wasn't having it. The fact that she had to fix her timing according to someone else's needs was not sitting right with her. Instead, she chose to ruin our lives by being absolutely miserable. Well, oh yeah, another incident. Our 6-foot-tall backyard spruce tree starts to die, and nothing we did helped it. Then my wife witnessed it. She saw our neighbor pouring boiling water into our yard. When we asked about it, she denied doing anything like that. My wife's been taking classes at night, and she was having issues related to sleep, and she used to feel sleepy during the day. Both our sleep schedules were affected because all the time the neighbors' teens would scream at the top of their lungs. We were unable to sleep a wink for a few days, and my wife thought seeing her state they might understand her pain, so she went to the door and explained our situation and asked the mom nicely if the kids could please keep the screaming to a minimum, or at least on the other side of the house. She said she would try, but probably she found a way to disturb us even more, because this time she also started to scream. She was calling us every name under the sun, and my wife, being offended by what she was saying, went out to the back door to confront her on what her problem was. Long story short, she directed all this anger at my wife and commented that we were being a bad example to our baby. At this point, I just simply had to intervene. I had to. Seeing that she changed her tone and said I was just trying to hide so that she could not get her pool access. Yeah, her pool. I told her when I got to the house there was no regulation like this, so why should I give her access? She went on to say how her previous neighbor respected her position as a prestigious community leader and gave her access, and we were the ones being ungrateful. When I still refused to give her access, she said that she would complain about it in the next meeting, and she would see who would win. As time's gone on, both she and the kids continue to scream for hours each day. The meeting will be held next week, and I still haven't seen her doing something bad, or at least I don't know what she's cooking behind our backs. Later, I found out from another neighbor that her divorce had been finalized and that they're having issues with the custody and alimony, which is why she's so silent. Some of you might think that she's going through a tough time and I'm adding more to her plate and her misery, and I should be more compassionate towards her. If you think about it clearly, I've not started anything other than the garbage incident. I even apologized to her for that. Even though the meeting will be led by her and she has the upper hand, I'm hopeful that they'll understand the fact that what's mine is mine. I just want it all to end. I've put a camera in my backyard because I don't know what she'll do next. And it's clear that she does not care about my wife's situation. I'm scared for my wife, I'm scared for my mother's safety. Maybe she'll be harsher now as she got divorced. Can you guys tell me what I should do? I'll only be able to update after the meeting, so I'll let you exactly know what happened. Update number 1. Hey everybody, it's been 2 weeks since the meeting, and where do I start? The meeting. It also got delayed for a week because my neighbor was having issues with her divorce, by the way. And some of you said that I should show her my sympathy and be considerate about her situation. I've seen the word sympathy many times in the comments, but let me tell you, one thing is she's not worthy of sympathy. What I'll tell you will make it clear and it'll change your mind. In the meeting, she cried. And by the way, her husband and she are separate now. She got custody of the children and allowed the father to see them once a week. As one of the kids is only 4 years of age, law took her side. She used the situation as leverage and that she's a single mother and her kids just want to use the pool for summer as she can't afford to have one. Everybody was feeling oh so sorry for her, including me, to be honest. Well, I told them that what she had done, including screaming at my pregnant wife, and we came to the conclusion that she would use the pool as long as I wanted and would not do any harm to my other property. My wife said I did the right thing as she's probably going through a lot. But it was the wrong idea, because the day after the meeting she showed up at my doorstep smirking and threatened me by saying that she won. She said that I had no chance against her, and if any of my family members came in her way, she would just show her position and throw us out. The next few days were somewhat traumatic for me as she was always in my yard. She even held a party there with some of her relatives and did not even invite us. When I tried to complain, she would say, "Oh, what you gonna do? Complain to the community leader? Wait, oh, that's me." She didn't even clear the after party from the pool area. And I don't have time to argue about all her small acts, it's getting too annoying. I think she's not getting along with the teenagers. I can hear them argue a lot. Probably because of the living arrangement, who knows. Recently I found out our big weeping willow tree has almost been cut in half, to the point where it has no sign of revival. We had a storm just a few days ago and we thought that caused it. But when we checked the pattern of cutting, it was clear that somebody had caused a sharp object to be inserted in it. Even though the tree was near the area of our fence, none of its branches were on her side, and I made sure of it. But when I confronted her and told her that I recorded everything on camera, she said it was on her side, so she did it rightfully. Well, guess what? When I checked the footage for evidence, I noticed that she had carefully covered her face. It wasn't enough to prove anything, and I'm so upset and disgusted by this, and we have absolutely no idea how to broach this with them. I wanted to use the clip in the community meeting, but this clip was not enough. By the way, I've heard she's allergic to dogs from a different neighbor. Some are even saying that was the sole reason for the separation, as the husband wanted a puppy. But I highly doubt it. That's not the only reason. By the way, recently I've rescued a dog from my near office. I'm planning to use it against her. I know, you have already guessed it, but I'll let you know if my plan works. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a whole month since I've updated y'all. I know. Thank you to every single person out there who commented. It really supported me to get an outsider's view on this troubling situation. The day after posting the last update, she and her son escalated and continued vandalizing my backyard, as according to the last community meeting that they had access to there and other places. We still tried to call the police, but they were so sneaky that we could not prove anything. As things continued, I spoke with the property office. They were incredibly dismissive about it. Complaining to them in the community meeting was not the way, as her petty acting was selling well in the neighborhood, but when I heard she's allergic to dogs, I made a plan to let my dog roam around the backyard. You see, my new dog is extremely outgoing and wants to live outside all the time. So, my neighbor doesn't like the fact that I leave my dog to take walks in my yard, despite the fact that the dog is never on her side. Yep, that's right. It physically can't even get into her yard because there's railing. But it doesn't seem to matter. She just doesn't like the idea of my dog even approaching the side of the railing because she has allergies, and the dog being too close, it makes her allergies pop off. She said I better take the dog inside when she's in the yard. I told her firmly that it would not be possible because my wife was about to give birth, and my mother was not here, so nobody could take care of the dog. It had to wander around on its own in my backyard. What I said was true. My wife's due date is coming very fast, and my mother had to leave as my father was sick. I also told her that I had to keep my fence door closed as my dog might get out. So if they have to use the pool, they have to ask for my permission every time to get in. She was so mad with my response, she literally hates that she has to take permission to get inside now. She said she would see the end of it the next day, and I got a notice for the next meeting. In the meeting, I told them the situation and told them how important it is for my dog to roam in my own backyard. Other times I tried to accuse her, and everyone got the idea that I was trying to pick a fight with her as she was old and a single mom. Everything was on her side. But this time I said with genuine concern whether giving pool access to children is more important than helping out a pregnant woman. The community club took my side. She was finally, and I mean finally, out of my yard. Whew. She was definitely not happy with the idea, and I know that she'll still find a way to make my life a living hell. So I don't really know what I'm going to do right now. Update number 3. Hey guys, yep, it's me, and I am back for another update. So, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can ever get this woman's torment away from me. She's really driving me crazy, and I don't know. I think she's should be staying in jail or a mental asylum. Okay, before letting you know what she did, I wanted to tell you the good news. I'm a father of a pretty daughter. I've been working from home now, as I said before, and thankfully, because leaving my wife and child where a scary neighbor is always plotting something against us, that's risky. A few days ago, my sister came with her kids for the weekend to see my baby. Her kids are around 10 years of age. They were immediately drawn towards our dog, and they were playing with the dogs in our front yard by throwing balls, and accidentally the ball went to my neighbor's front yard, and my niece just went to take it. But my neighbor was watering her lawn at the time and attacked her with a hose. She came home soaking wet and crying, and my sister was watching them over. She was shocked by her action because all my niece did was go to get the ball. When my sister tried to confront her, she said that she would call the police on us if any of us set foot in her area. Over the weekend, she had called the police on us 3 times. One time for, quote, racing my car through the neighborhood, which I would never do as there's children playing in the street. Why would I do that? I won't be able to live my life if there's those children getting hurt by my vehicle. She has also called me for, quote, making noise, which I've also never done because, well, it's her children who do such a noise making, not me. We don't play music usually. We only do it once when my sister was here, and we had a barbecue party in the backyard and slow jazz was playing in the music. I think she got jealous that we were enjoying ourselves at our pool and called the cops. She also called the police on me because I came back from a meeting one day and returned at about 12 in the morning after a long day, and I apparently disturbed her whole family, which led to filing another noise complaint. Recently, one thing just made me so mad. My niece and nephews were walking my dog with a teenager kid who lives across from my home. They came back crying, saying that my neighbor's kid beat the dog with a belt. The dog was not even in their yard or anything. They were just walking in the road in front of the house. There's only a lump near the dog's eyes. Other than that, there's no sign of abuse. I cannot confront them because of that. However, for the safe side, I've planted more cameras that face her yard as well because of what she's up to. If these kids keep doing these kind of acts, I think I might have to move out. I'm so tired of this. I wanted a new place to enjoy my life with my family, but this is simply not the way. I'm constantly worried about what she'll do next, so please, 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 please give me some advice. Update number 4. This is the final update. Thank you, everybody, for all your responses. I was feeling so clueless about the situation that I was planning to move. Moving out would have been hard as I have a small baby. However, the camera implication, it worked. It didn't work easily. We had to suffer in the process. But in the end, things ended well, and my neighbor's youngest child is a 4-year-old girl. They were still so mad that they could not get into my pool area. I know technically that they can't do anything about it, but still it's frustrating to have to even deal with it. So, a few days ago, while she was out with her kid, the kid got attacked by a stray dog, apparently, and was rushed to the hospital with a massive bite mark on the leg. The kid is in stable condition right now, as far as I know, but the neighbor found a great opportunity and decided to blame it on my dog. They said that my dog attacked the kid. First of all, I have cameras in my house 24/7 live streaming, baby. The day that the attack took place, my dog was inside, not even in the backyard, and it was most of the day because I was out running errands. I don't leave her in the yard when I'm gone because of security issues. There's evidence of that on my CCTV camera and the exact timestamp. She didn't know that, and she informed the police that I was accountable and that my dog's responsibility for it because I told the officers about the footage, and I even had an alibi that I was out at the house at the time of the attack, and she thought I only had cameras in my front yard. Joke's on her. LOL. Well, the police dismissed the mom and I was fine, but the attempt to frame me and my dog in order to have my dog put down did not sit right with me. There was also a couple of neighbors who saw the attack by the stray dog, and I cannot picture how sick they were for attempting to exploit this tragic condition in order to make an agenda against me and my dog and try to get my dog put to sleep. I sued my neighbor for fraudulent charges, and they're being legally dealt with right now. But I think she's sick to her core, because the suing was not affecting her at all. What affected her was that she had failed to put my dog to sleep. She thought that she would take the action herself. See, our dogs are not big barkers, but still she tried to complain against the police many times, and the police didn't do anything. They just gave us a warning and left. My youngest dog absolutely loves to just roam around the backyard, digging holes and chasing after the bees and squirrels. The other just loves to take naps at the poolside couch all day. So one day we went to bring her for giving a bath, and there we found a few slices of deli meat. I got curious, but I thought my wife probably gave them as we were planning to change their diet. But one thing we noticed was that the youngest dog was getting sick for a few days. She has a habit of nibbling on things and has medicine for that, and we gave it to her. But there was no sign of recovery, so we took her to the vet, and the doctor said that she was poisoned. She's okay now. If we had ignored it, she would have died. We had no idea, but when I just, curiously asked my wife about the meat slices, she said she has no idea about it. We immediately went home and checked the security camera, and we surprisingly found out the source of the meat. It was none other than the teenager from the neighborhood. He was throwing meat from the windows of his attic. I checked all the CCTV camera, and there it was, caught red-handed in the act. He did it so casually, thinking nobody would notice that everything got recorded. I reported her to the police with the proof, as there were still some rotten meats in my backyard, and now they're going through trials of legal issues. At least since then, she's left me alone. I never could have caught her, but her obsessive nature has helped me. The position of being a community leader now has been given to me for taking steps against her. Neighbors have suggested my neighbor and her family move out as they're not reliable. I don't know what she'll do, but I will be happy if they leave. And I think she must actually leave after what she has done to me. Anyways, that's it, guys. That's it for my story. Thank you for making it to the end and supporting me throughout it. That story was pretty intense, guys. I want to know what you would have done in that exact situation, so post it down below in our comment section. But first, I want to look at this one comment that was on the final post that a lot of people were not very happy about, and they're like, are you joking? Here it is. Are they moving out, really? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. They really went through a lot, but their future's ruined, or at least will be traumatic for these silly little fights. You could have had a normal conversation about terms and conditions and lived in your own respective spaces on your own way, but this was not it. What if the next neighbor will turn out to be like that as well? What are you going to do about that then? So, I want to know your thoughts on that, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Mr. Reddito. I narrate drama stories just like this every day, and I'm telling you, I've seen some wild stories. There's no telling what we're going to come across. So make sure you subscribe, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. And of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.